Hey guys, so summertime usually means lots of grilling outdoors. But I remember years ago when I lived in an apartment, I didn't have a barbecue and I always felt left out every summer. So today I'm going to share with you a classic recipe for a barbecue chicken slider that you don't need a grill to pull off. The whole thing can be made in your kitchen and in the oven. Let me show you how to make them. So the first thing we're going to do is roast our chicken. So you're going to begin with 2 bone-in, skin-on chicken breasts. You can go ahead and just place it on a rack on a baking sheet and pop it in a 400-degree oven for just about 25 to 30 minutes, just until everything is cooked through. And meanwhile, we can make our homemade barbecue sauce. Now, this is the thing that really sends this recipe over the edge. Once you've tasted homemade barbecue sauce, you're never going to want to buy it in the store ever again. So in a large saucepan, you're going to add a cup of ketchup, a 1/4 cup of white wine vinegar, 1/3 cup of packed brown sugar, just to give it a little bit of sweetness, and 1/3 cup of molasses. Now the molasses is going to allow this sauce to get really thick and syrupy, and that I think is the true hallmark of a great barbecue sauce. And then we're gonna add a little bit of heat to give it a kick in the form of 1½ teaspoons of your favorite hot sauce. And then we're also gonna add 2 teaspoons of Dijon mustard, 1/2 teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce, and then 2 minced garlic cloves. We're just gonna heat our sauce up on a medium-high flame for just about 10 to 15 minutes, just until it has a chance to kind of bubble and thicken. And then once it's ready, you can take it off the heat, and then we can prepare our coleslaw. So coleslaw is just a classic dish that it really complements barbecue things so well, and we are going to actually pair both of these in our little sliders. So in a small bowl, you're going to add 2 cups of thinly sliced green cabbage, and then a 1/4 cup of just thinly sliced red onion. Just want to kind of cut them into half moons. And then about 1/2 carrot that we are going to peel with a potato peeler just to create some nice beautiful ribbons. Now we can set our vegetables aside while we mix in the dressing. And the dressing is simply 1/3 cup of mayonnaise, a tablespoon of white wine vinegar, a tablespoon of brown sugar, a tablespoon of Dijon mustard, and then this is what really I think is the mark of a great coleslaw, celery seed. So we're going to add a teaspoon of celery seed. If you're not familiar with it, you can find it just in the spice aisle. And what it does is it creates this really beautiful freshness and a little bit of texture when you have it in a coleslaw. If you couldn't find it, you also could use the sesame seed, or even just the black sesame seeds would look pretty too. And then finally, we're gonna add a 1/4 teaspoon of salt and some freshly cracked pepper. Then you can just stir that all up until it's combined. And then you can set that aside. Then once your chicken is cooled, you can go ahead and remove the skin and just shred it up with 2 forks, and this will give you about 3 cups of chicken. Now the nice thing is all of this could be done the day before if you were serving this for a party. So then we're gonna take our chicken and place it in a bowl, and then we are going to add our barbecue sauce. So at this point, it really just depends on how you like it. I typically like chicken that has a nice sauciness to it, especially when paired with the coleslaw, but really it's up to you. The best thing to do is just spoon it into the chicken and continue to mix it until you get your desired coverage. If you have sauce that's left over, you can also either pour that into a little bowl and serve it on the side that people can use for dipping, or you can pop it in your fridge. It'll last for a few days, or you can even put it in the freezer and it'll last for at least a month. Okay, so we're in the final stretch. The next thing we're gonna do is slice our brioche buns in half. And I really love to use the brioche, especially with this recipe, because the sweetness of that bread pairs so well with the sweetness of the barbecue sauce and the crunch of that coleslaw. So we're just gonna split them down the center. We're gonna brush with a little bit of melted butter, pop them under the broiler for just a few minutes. Like, you really have to watch it because this bread does burn pretty quickly. And then once they're done, it's time to assemble. So here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna take all of our bottoms and put them on a cutting board. And then we're gonna take a little bit of the coleslaw and place it on the bottom. And then on top of that, we're gonna place a little mound of our delicious barbecue chicken. And then you're gonna top with a bun, and there you have it. A fantastic looking slider. I love this recipe because they are great as an appetizer if you were having a summer party, or they're also great as a main course. You could serve everybody about 3 and then pair with something like a corn salad or a potato salad. Would be really good. Now, if you are serving this as a main course, a great dessert option for this meal would be either my fruit crumbles. That would be really easy and delicious and also feel very American. Or you could do a blueberry pie, another classic. I will leave you links to these videos in the description, or you can click the annotations as well. So there you have it, my barbecue chicken sliders, a really delicious barbecue dinner without the need for a barbecue. I hope you guys give this one a try and let me know what you think. And for more great, easy recipes, be sure to subscribe, and I will see you back here next week for another one. Until then, bye.